Katie Arrington will run for the United States Congress for the 1st Congressional District. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with Katie one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Representative Arrington.
Yes, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great as always.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Indeed. Hope you're feeling better.
I am. I'm slowly getting better. The flu just took me for a storm this year.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm a healthy woman.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let me jump right into it. There's
Sure.
so many things to talk about. And you posted it on your Facebook page just a couple of days ago. You said this quote, breaking. President Trump's senior campaign advisor and firm has joined our campaign.
Yes.
The voters have a clear difference in this race, charting a new path with a conservative who will proudly support President Trump's bold conservative agenda, and me, or staying on the trail of obstructionism and constant bashing of President by Mark Sanford. Tell me, what is the conservative agenda that President Trump has in your mind?
Oh, well, number one, the tax cuts. So he was, the president understood that we needed to get the taxpayers' money back to them to make our economy move. Mark Sanford wrote a 4,479-word essay on why the tax cuts weren't good. And just as recently as yesterday, the day before, because the tax cuts aren't permanent,
Right.
he's actually saying, no, they're not doing any good and we shouldn't have them. President Trump is about putting America first. And we need to have somebody in Washington who understands what that really means. We need things in the 1st Congressional District. We need infrastructure. We need to put America first. And Mark Sanford clearly is not that person.
And let me take you to the other issue that's going on right now. You
Yes.
said this on March 28th as well. You said this quote, the latest from Mark Sanford's trail of obstructionism, making the tax cuts permanent is big. Fat no in Sanford's mind. Time to drain the swamp of career politicians like Mark who are out of touch with the real needs of our community. And this is coming from the political headline that reads, Tax Cuts, Round 2, GOP looks to punish Democrats in 2018.
Well, so the drain the swamp goes on both sides. So we have had career politicians in Washington who are completely out of touch. Mark Sanford has been in office in one capacity or another since 1994.
Right.
In 1994, O.J. Simpson was a positive pitchman for commercial industry. Let's think about that. Forrest Gump was top in the movie polls. Mark Sanford has complained about how things are bad since 1994. But yet, do you know that not one bill he ever sponsored has become law? Not one bill. You, the taxpayer, have paid over $2.4 million in that man's salary, and he has not gotten one thing accomplished. That, to me, is if you or I in our day jobs didn't get something done, would we have a job? Absolutely not. If we had been employed since 1994 and hadn't gotten any objective completed, would we be with our current company? Absolutely not. We have people in Washington that is literally their mantra. Well, I'll get it done next time. We don't have a next time. You don't. I mean, your story at the Black Republican Chamber Republican night,
Right.
your story touched me because you didn't let anything keep you back. You just kept moving forward. You had a goal and you're going to reach it. That is what America is based on. People that are willing to do the hard work, put in there, I say the 3 Ps.
Okay.
Passion, perseverance, and positivity. You, sir, have all those.
Well, thank you.
We need people in office who do that. We need people who have a goal and they're not going to move away from it and they're going to stay steadfast on that goal. We have to drain the swamp. We have to send every career politician that has been there and not doing the people's work home. Mark Sanford, 1995 actually got on the floor. One of his first speeches on the floor.
Right.
Spoke about term limits. And he did the Frank Luntz poll and he pulled out all this information and he was saying how 3 terms is what citizen legislatures are about. It's about coming in, having the say-so and the no of being directly in the community, feeling it, being able to go and produce and create law or amend law that's currently out that will benefit, and then going away. Our founding fathers did not intend, nor did they ever want, career politicians. Let's even take Thomas Jefferson, for instance. There he is on Monticello. He don't want to go to work. He don't want to go and be a part of politics. It was about being in service. So Mark Sanford, and I won't even go, well, I will, but he comes out in the paper, the Post and Courier this past weekend, with an article saying that, no, 12 years, 6 terms is what he really meant. He's done some soul searching. Well, Congressman, every time you've done soul searching, it's cost me, the taxpayer, something. We don't need any more. You've had enough time, you haven't gotten anything done, it's time to move on and find someone new.
And you talk about the community, what are they saying about the current congressman right now?
So polls on both sides. So the Democratic polls and the Republican polls clearly show, without a doubt, Mark Sanford, people don't want him back. They're tired of it, they're tired of having the embarrassment, they're tired of the obstructionism. And obstructionism is a good thing when it produces an outcome. When it doesn't, then it just becomes you're complacent, and that's where you stay. Mark Sanford sits on the Budget Committee. Did you know that? Did you know that he sits on the Budget Committee and that he actually, in an event on Monday night, I was sitting with him.
Okay.
I'm a legislator. I know what goes on in committees. We communicate, we talk. He actually had sat there and said he sat on the Budget Committee and had no idea what the budget was going to be. How is that even possible? So either he is completely marginalized and there's no say, so no one includes him in the conversation, or leadership doesn't trust him and they're not including him in conversation. Bottom line is, your representative sits on a committee that the whole purpose of you paying him all year long to be there is on one of those committees, and budget was one of them. No budget cuts were put in on that budget. He said he didn't even know about it, yet he voted it down. I'm so tired of sending someone to Washington with that, and that's okay by him, and that's not okay with me. I'm a legislator. I am a public servant. I work right now for District 94 in the state of South Carolina. I mean it. I'm working. That's my job. I pick up the phone. I make calls. That is the job of a citizen legislature. Mark Sanford, for the first time in his career, is actually showing up and actually trying to communicate with people. The only reason why, people, is because he's concerned about me taking his job. It's not a job. It's about being in service.
Matter of fact, let me continue with that because you posted this on March 22nd on your Facebook page. You said this: Mark Sanford sits on the Budget Committee. The job of the Budget Committee is to pass a budget, not produce last-minute omnibus spending bills. Clearly, Mark Sanford can't do his job. Let me go to that. The omnibus spending bills. What are those bills?
Oh, well, they're all the spending for the year, okay? So the last go-around, which is really funny, Mark Sanford posted 2 or 3 weeks ago, we got all the Tiger Grants awarded. Remember?
Right.
Yeah. Except for the fact that Mark Sanford didn't vote for the bill, the omnibus bill. So he wants to take credit for the grants that are coming to this community, but he didn't vote for them. That's what that omnibus bill is. It's all the spending.
As a matter of fact, you took them to task about the Highway 78 bill.
Yeah, the Tiger Grant. You can't be an obstructionist, and then when good news finally comes, despite of your obstructionism, you want to take the credit for it. That is not how it works. It's kind of like, you go out and I'll use this analogy. You own a company with somebody, right? You just peace out and you do nothing, and you come back 20 years later and you're like, hey, look at the company's successful, I'm here for my pay cut. That's what Mark's doing to you. That's what he's doing to us. And I refuse to have it done again.
And let me take you to March 22nd again, because you posted this on your Facebook page as well. It's official. This morning, I filed my candidacy paperwork to appear on the June 12th Republican primary ballot for South Carolina's 1st Congressional District. So tell me, where were you emotionally when you filed?
Well, my husband was Facebook Living me during it, and he had the camera wrong, and I was nervous. Anytime you're willing to say, I want to serve, I said the Lord's Prayer. I mean, I'm saying a prayer before I do it because it's not about me. That's about my husband, my children, my grandchildren, my whole family. We're putting ourselves out there to be scrutinized. were putting everything on the line to serve. And I was crying. And I'm nervous, and you see me holding my chest,
Right.
and I was chewing gum in the beginning because my mouth was so dry.
Okay.
Because Mark came in and filed his like it was no big deal. That is a big deal. How many people in their lifetime file to run for Congress? And it's sad when somebody doesn't have, he just waltzed in, signed the paper, gave the check, and there was nothing to it. Because he's a career politician. He's been doing it every 2 years since 1994. It meant so much. The time that I filed to run for State House and that day will go down in the top 10 in my life. Giving birth to my children, seeing my grandchildren enter this world, and filing. All of them new chapters to make something better.
You talk about scrutinizing, that is. What do you want people to scrutinize about you if that were to happen?
They absolutely, so I believe in the citizen legislator. I believe that, the reason why that we drafted the Constitution, our founding fathers, and that the House members are elected, Congress is every 2 years, because they need to be accountable. They're the ones who are the direct communication to the people. That's the job. So you absolutely should question everything that I do. That is not, I am a politician. There's a difference, and I've said this to you a couple of times. A politician and a public servant are two different things. A politician walks in the room, they think they're the smartest person in the room. A public servant knows they're not. They listen, they get educated, and then they make the best decision on the information that they're given in the community that is and it's important to have good people around you. It's important to listen to everybody's opinion. Listening is the first job of every public servant. You listen. That is something that, I would pray that everybody who votes for me or puts their support in me, that you do. You look and you ask, why are you voting this way? I need you to hear my opinion on this, because in the State House, I represent 38,960 people. In Congress, I'll represent over 600,000 people. It's important to listen. And you do need to scrutinize your whoever is representing you. It's absolutely important.
Let me take you to the State House.
Yeah.
Every lawmaker I know is very upset about this. And apparently this is from Jamie Lovegrove with the Post-Courier, but this is news here. In a 2016 voicemail obtained by the Post-Courier, a high-ranking scanner official told a key Santee Cooper employee that the nuclear project was facing massive mismanagement problems.
Oh my gosh. It's criminal what's going on there. And I don't know why the Senate is dragging their feet to give relief to you, the taxpayer and the ratepayer, on and clawing back the Baseload Review Act from that 18.75% you're paying on your bill every month. When the public trust is given, there's something larger than money that you've done. And we trusted SE&G, SCANA, and Santee Cooper with our money. Our one of the things that we need most in our world, energy.
Sure.
And the public trust is more important. The money matters, don't get me wrong, but the trust matters. You took our money. You lied. You were deceitful. There's criminal activity. That breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart. And I read the article, and I applaud the Post and Courier. They have done a phenomenal job covering this whole issue. But we are not nearly done, people, and this issue is still out there, and we need to get the Senate to vote on this. We need to give the ratepayers some relief. All of the reports clearly state that SCANA, SE&G will not go bankrupt, and that was like their big call. Oh, if you take this money back, we'll go bankrupt. It's a false truth, fake news, and I pray that the people that stole your money are brought to justice.
Why the politics in the Senate?
I don't know. I don't understand the Senate. Things seem very easy and cut and dry to me, but as they say, they're the deliberate body. I don't know what we are in the House. I guess we are the active members. We spent in the House Speaker Jay Lucas, right, and Representative Peter McCoy, right, who chaired the committee.
Right.
We had to the taxpayer. The House met all summer long over this whole issue. We had hearing after hearing after hearing. We were not acting irrationally. We were not acting we weren't being reactive, we were being thoughtful, but we took the time. The Senate did not. We came, and our job in the House is to make the laws and send them to the Senate to review and to come back, and we vote them in with the governor or vetoes or overriding vetoes. But were proactive on this. The moment that it became an issue, we were proactive, trying to solve something. And a lot of the bills that have been, that's one of the things in government I really have a problem with, is we're not proactive, we're reactive. Everything in the United States that we tend to do is reactive, not proactive. So in the House, in this bill, one of the bills was very proactive about who we put on the Public Service Commission and what qualifications that they had to have. That we would proactively never build another nuclear reactor in the state of South Carolina that was through a public and private partnership. Those are proactive bills that the Senate should have no problem voting on and sending back to us. So I'm not exactly sure. I question what they're doing over there. It took them 2 weeks to debate chicken. 2 weeks to debate chicken. So we'll see. It's sadly in their hands. And I believe now it's April 10th is the soonest that we'll have anything back from them.
And what other issues still play in your mind when you think of the South Carolina State House right now?
Oh, there's so many. The job is never done, and I'm sad. And actually, I get teary-eyed a lot when I go on the floor, and I'm not a crying person. It's just, I'm so honored to serve in that body. And there's so much work that needs to be done, and why I'm running for Congress is because so much of what we do in the state is reactive of what the federal government has on regulations and statutes, that we need to put government back in the fence. The Constitution is a fence, and it's supposed to keep government inside of it. What has happened is the government, in all honesty, has acted like a weed. And they created all these agencies and it gave them, regulatory authority, and it's grown. And we really need to be like a gardener, come in and clean it up, put it back into the fence so it looks clean and neat and it's very easy to understand. On the State House, some of the things that we could do that are, we are debating medicinal marijuana.
Right.
Phase 2 of the pension still is not right. We still have to work on that. The opioid bills that, they're so impactful right now that people need help on. We have a great deal of work to be done. I applaud all the people a lot of people are running for my seat.
Right. I see.
And I've put out the opportunity to meet with each of them.
Sure.
And convey what is happening. What bills I have and what I'm working on that doesn't pass in this session doesn't mean that it should die. It's passing it along and ensuring that there's continuity. We're having a big change. I mean, there's no doubt that 2018 is going to be a change. I don't think the blue wave is happening. I think that's a lot of talk and rhetoric. I think that Republicans are tired of the establishment. They voted President Trump in because they were tired of the establishment. And I think 2018 is going to show them clearly. We want new, fresh faces that are willing to work with the president to get what we voted him into office to do.
And if you were to debate Congressman Mark Sanford right now.
Oh, please, bring him on.
What would that first question be to him?
What have you accomplished? What have you done that I can look at in a tangible result in the state of South Carolina? What have you done in this nation to make it better? And talking is cheap. It's to me, if you say there's a problem and you don't come up with a solution to the problem, it's whining. Mark Sanford has made a career out of whining. He tells us what's wrong. The problem is he doesn't have the either fortitude, the capability to get people to join him as a leader to fix them. So he's just talking about problems, but he's never solved a problem. That to me is one of the questions. Sir, what have you done? And don't tell me how you stood and you voted no on this. The bottom line is our deficit has grown since you took office. Our spend has grown since you've taken office. The only time that we've gotten any tax cuts back to the people in the past, since you came back in the second round of Congress, you bashed them. You voted for them, but you bashed them. And now that they're temporary, you're saying they shouldn't be permanent. Tell me what you've done to better my life. I can tell you right now, his answers, he'll go what he always does. And people watching this video, Mark Sanford will start over here and he'll talk for 15 minutes. And he'll come back to right here and he won't have answered your question not one time. You deserve results and you deserve answers. That's what I'm about to give. We have a problem with Planned Parenthood and funding Planned Parenthood and paying for abortions. When President Clinton was in office, they actually wrote the legislation that if you pull any part of the funding, which abortions are lumped in, because it's not a line item, it's lumped in, if you pull it on a state level, you lose all the funding. We have to get that fixed. We in the state of South Carolina, if we do not want to pay for abortions with our tax dollars, that is our right. And we should have that right. Congress up in Washington needs to give that back to us. There are things that can be fixed. Defense spend. I know how to fix defense spending. I've been in it. I understand it. Defense contractors aren't bad people at all. And they're not warmongers, and they're people who really believe in this country, and they're trying to give our people defending our great nation the best technology that they have. But we write the regulations so that it's not incentivized to do any good. It's, if you win a $500 million contract with the government, there's no incentivization to save the government money. It's a $500 million contract.
Okay.
We have to change that. Mark Sanford has spent a career telling us what's wrong. He hasn't fixed it.
Representative Katie Arrington, thank you so much for your time. I
Thank you.
really appreciate this.
Oh, anytime for you, anything. And anybody watching this, if you don't know his story, it is amazing. He is somebody who is the American dream. He's keeping it going. I pray for you, and I thank you. And what number am I? 1,000?
No, this is close to 1,000 right now. I'm at 19 interviews left.
Yes!
Before 1,000.
I'm close. All right, thank you.